The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speak to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, my comments today are in no way reflect the patron or anyone who supports this bill, but it's about the policy, and this is the policy discussion that I think we as the General Assembly have to deal with this issue. When this topic first came up a couple of years ago, we held a series of hearings here in the General Assembly, and in fact, town hall meetings all across the Commonwealth, virtually, of course, with this proposal in mind. And we heard from so many communities, black and brown communities, that talked about people being pulled over on these pretextual stops. Really, if you don't know what a pretextual stop is, it's really a cover. It's an excuse to pull someone over. To pull someone over because maybe they don't think that they belong in that neighborhood. And they use the primary offense as an excuse to pull someone over. Because probably the best attorney in this room could not prove that what I saw in those tinted windows was actually too dark. I really thought as a law enforcement that was too dark, so I pulled that person over. Or that there was a dangling object that was obstructing the person's view. Or the odor of marijuana. Different things that deal with your senses. Emissions. I thought their emissions were too loud. That's my excuse to pull someone over because I don't think that they belong in this neighborhood. And we heard that from people of color, and we heard it from defense attorneys that they see people brought in on other charges, but that pretext, that reason they pulled them over, jaywalking's another one, that they stopped someone or brought someone in was because of these pretextual stops. And it was disproportionate to people of color, our black and brown communities. And subsequently, we had a study that reported all these interactions. And would you believe it or not, Mr. Speaker, members of the body, it's absolutely true. A disproportionate number of people that are pulled over for these violations are black and brown. Now, that's not to say that people in my community, white people, do not smoke marijuana at a higher rate, or that their headlight goes out, or that their inspection might expire at a higher rate than someone that's black or brown. But that's what was coming in. Those are the people that were being charged. And I think when we talk about here about policies that we want to implement, we frequently come back. I've never seen a perfect bill in my life. We frequently come back and say that bill, that piece of legislation had an unintended consequence. But this legislation that's before us right now is not going to have an unintended consequence. We know exactly what's going to happen if we pass this bill. And I don't know what you call a law that is passed that disproportionately affects people of color. But I can tell you what, Mr. Speaker, I want no part of it. I hope you vote no.